Is Khloe Kardashian secretly raising Dream as one of her own children?
I feel like I'm like a third parent for Dream, I guess.
At first glance, that sounds completely ridiculous. Of course Dream spends a lot of time with Khloe. She's Rob Kardashian's daughter, and Rob and Khloe are close. She's best friends with True, and the Kardashians have never exactly operated like a typical family. But fans have been asking this question for years, and interestingly, the reason has very little to do with birthday parties, sleepovers, and even Khloe openly referring to herself as Dream's third parent. It actually starts with the last name. Because while Kris Jenner has a growing army of grandchildren, only one child in the next generation still carries the Kardashian name. That's right, not West, not Disick, Thompson, Webster, Kardashian. And that child is Dream. Once fans made that connection, they started looking at Dream's relationship with Khloe very differently. Let's rewind. Dream, of course, is the daughter of Rob Kardashian and Angela White, formerly known as Blac Chyna. Officially, Rob and Angela share custody 50-50, but years ago, fans began noticing something that they couldn't quite explain. See, during periods when Dream was supposedly spending time with Rob, she often appeared to be with Khloe instead. While some were quick to jump to the idea that that meant that Rob was therefore an absent father, leaving his sister to do all of the babysitting during his time to have custody of Dream, others dismissed it as simply family closeness. But then, Angela was asked directly about the situation during an interview with TMZ, and her response only fueled the speculation. See, instead of shutting down the rumors, Angela emphasized that during her time to have custody of Dream, she's the one actively raising Dream. She then added that she couldn't control what happens during Rob's time. Fans immediately noticed what she didn't say. She never denied that Khloe had become deeply involved in Dream's day-to-day life. Almost immediately, a new theory began circulating. Well, what if Rob wasn't an absent father in Dream's life at all? What if he was simply living alongside Khloe? That rumor has floated around Kardashian circles for years because Rob rarely appears on camera, rarely attends public events, and has largely stepped away from the spotlight as a whole. If he was living with Khloe, fans argued, it would explain why Dream was so frequently seen at her house. But even if that's true, it still raises another question. Why does Khloe seem to occupy such a uniquely parental role in Dream's life compared to every other aunt in the family? Because Dream isn't just another Kardashian grandchild. She's the only Kardashian grandchild. So for a family that turned its surname into a global empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars, that detail suddenly feels much more significant, especially when you take into account the tension between Angela and the Kardashians, which doesn't just stem from her connection to Tyga, Kylie's ex. In fact, she sued Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, and Kylie Jenner for more than $100 million, claiming that they used their influence to get her show, Rob and Chyna, canceled, and that damaged her career, and that they did it on purpose. The Kardashians fought back, with Angela ultimately losing that case, but the lawsuit permanently changed the relationship between her and the family. Khloe has openly admitted that it has been difficult to maintain a close relationship with someone that actively sued her family. And during one interview, she even casually remarked that while Angela was suing them, Dream was at her house. Looking back, fans viewed that comment differently. It seemed to suggest that regardless of the conflict between the adults, Khloe saw herself as somebody helping raise Dream, while her actual mother was distracted with drama. And then comes the comment that arguably changes everything. While discussing Dream on the Kardashians, Scott Disick tells Khloe, "You're more than an aunt." Khloe agrees, saying probably more than an aunt, just a third parent. But then Scott takes it even further. He says, "No, you're the wheel that makes the cart move," suggesting that she's not just another parent to the little girl, but possibly the most important one. It was a brief exchange, but fans immediately latched onto it. For years, people have been speculating about Khloe's role in Dream's life, and now members of the family themselves seem to be acknowledging that her involvement extended far beyond what most people would associate with being just somebody's aunt. That's when fans began revisiting moments that they had previously brushed aside. Khloe had planned major birthday celebrations for Dream. She proudly shared Mother's Day gifts that Dream had given her. Dream frequently appears alongside True and Tatum in family photos, looking less and less like a cousin and more like a sibling. Then there's the jewelry. Fans noticed that Khloe has worn necklaces featuring the names of her children, True, Tatum, and Dream. Others pointed out moments where Dream called Khloe Mama while still calling Angela Mommy, or where family members casually referred to Dream and True as sisters instead of cousins. None of it proves anything, but together, the moments created a pattern that fans found difficult to ignore. Then there's what may be the most interesting piece of the puzzle. Years ago, Angela attempted to trademark names connected to the Kardashian brand, leading to legal disputes involving Dream Kardashian's name and branding rights. That's led some fans to wonder whether the family's investment in Dream has less to do with the ordinary family closeness and more to do with preserving the legacy that they've spent decades building, which brings everything back to the same question. So is Khloe simply an exceptionally devoted aunt who stepped up during complicated circumstances? Or has she quietly become something much closer to a parent? Because regardless of what title anyone chooses to use, one thing seems undeniable. Khloe's role in Dream's life appears far bigger than a typical aunt's. The family has acknowledged it, fans have noticed it, and even Khloe herself has hinted at it. The only thing that people still can't seem to agree on is where exactly the line between aunt and mother figure was crossed, or whether it was ever actually there in the first place.